Hey YouTube, how's it going? Kiriyama Sparta here.
Hi,
With?
Sarah.
That's actually a lot of energy coming from Sarah. She's really sick, so
really
I'm
sick. Distance.
I was actually gonna borrow like a hazmat suit from work and wear it. That would have been funny, but
Try not to breathe on him so I don't give him my germs.
she actually has cooties. She's a literal girl with cooties.
Yeah.
I don't want none of that shit. Anyway, if you see us here and you see us holding weird book things that are thinner than novels, comic book day
Yay.
on a Friday, because it was Boxing Day. I mean,
Christmas, you
it was
guys.
Christmas. There was stuff happened. Yeah. Anywho, we're back now,
Yeah.
and they finally delivered a couple before Watchmen is what we're going to be hitting up this week. We got two. First up is Moloch #2, the finale.
Yep.
Because it only got 2 issues. And then we actually got Night Owl #4, the finale, which...
I didn't know it was ending so soon. I read it and I was like, oh, this is the last one.
Well, it was with the first batch. It was right after Silk Spectre, so... So now I get to be sad because one of the ones I liked is done.
Yeah, but Rorschach's still going.
One more. We look at the one more. It's weird that we're circling the drain here. Anyway, we're going to start off with Moloch #2. And just before we get into the, nit and gritty, we're just going to go page by page. Quick review. I really dug this one.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
did.
I feel so sorry for Moloch.
He's a super tragic character.
Definitely
in
a
this.
tragic character.
Yeah, I'm really happy that they did this. I mean, obviously you saw from the first video, or the first review of the first issue, I really liked it. I like it better when they go more into the villains than the superheroes, because most superheroes, they have a very...
They're pretty
They're
straightforward.
pretty cliched, pretty predictable.
But you never knew much about Moloch. Ever.
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah, especially finding out like all the stuff he did, everything. This is a really good comic.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to watch us go page by page, you don't want us to ruin it, just buy it.
Yeah.
It's great.
great.
Yeah, it's great. So without further ado, we'll get right into it. So Moloch #2 starts off right where the first one kind of ended. The first one ended with Moloch finally getting out of jail. I think he was put on bail early due to Adrian Veidt, aka asshole.
Yes.
Ozymandias. Still not a big fan of this guy.
Asshole.
And spoiler alert, this comic doesn't make me like him anymore. In fact, I really dislike him a lot.
Yeah, I was saying to him earlier that throughout this entire thing, Moloch seemed more like the hero character and Adrian seemed more like the villain character.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
really bad for Moloch.
Yeah, before we get into it too, did you notice like when Moloch's drawn, there's a lot of light on him and Adrian's like constantly in shadow in this one. So that might actually subconsciously, that's why you were thinking that.
And he's an asshole.
And he's an asshole. Anyway, we're going to stop bashing on Ozymandias and get right into it. So basically, he's being offered a job by Adrian. He's saying, is it true that, you've been wanting, that you've changed?
He's a born-again Christian.
You're a born-again Christian. And basically he's asking him a bunch of yes questions. Like, he's just, yes, yes, yes. And he's like, you have done bad things. There's penance for that. Are you willing to do your penance for it? And he says, yes, Mr. Veidt. And basically he gives him a job at Veidt Industries. Now he does get kind of an odd little job. He goes through the office, there's nobody there. Adrian's saying, oh, there's a birthday party on the 3rd floor. I don't care for them, but it keeps them happy because, he's too cool for that shit.
Cool.
Anyway, sorry. He gets his own private entrance, his own private office. It's your basic standard office. And basically, Moloch's job, I thought it was kind of interesting.
Definitely weird.
Weird, yeah.
But
interesting. I liked it. I never really thought of that. Of course, Adrian Ozymandias, he's been working on this energy project, new energy, clean energy, better energy. And of course, with that comes a lot of math equations, a lot of hypothesis, a lot of charts and everything.
fancy math stuff.
Fancy math stuff. So basically they need to replicate it to get it right, the formulas and everything. So, like even the slightest miscalculation, that's someone dying.
Yeah.
So Moloch's job, literally from 9 to 5, is to look at these 2 pieces of paper, or 3 pieces of paper, and make sure that they all match.
Yeah.
The slightest detail, he's got to circle it in red marker.
And Adrian's excuse for picking Moloch for this is he was a magician. He had one of the greatest minds, and
super good at concentration.
That attention to detail and concentration is exactly what he needs for this. So that's why he was.
Because if you think about it, in this world, being the villain that he really was just a guy who was good at sleight of hand, good at illusions and stuff. Not like Mysterio-ish, like, oh, I've got holograms and shit. Like, no, this guy really...
just legit smart.
Like, legit smart. So then we kind of get just a good glance of how his daily life goes. The first one, it shows him really working just 9 to 5. Finally finds one, like, near the end of the day, gotcha, circles it in red. And then, goes through numerous other days, just him at work, looking bored, becoming just your typical
average Joe.
Average Joe. It's really neat. Shows him praying at church, just doing his shopping, watching Michael Jackson on TV.
There's a little panel of him watching a thing on TV about Michael Jackson's new moonwalk, and the look on his face is so skeptical.
He's like,
I thought it was so sweet.
Yeah.
It's a silly thing to latch onto, but that little blue one in the middle. Just such a skeptical look in his eye.
It was. And so basically, it almost shows him just kind of coming bored, like that last shot there.
He's getting more wrinkly and old looking.
So you can tell that a lot of time's been passing, basically.
Or what's happening
What's going on.
Yeah.
So basically, because Vight's so proud of, or he's like, you found a lot of stuff, I'm actually quite impressed and all that. I'm going to give you the day off. And he's like, well, it's not technically a day off. I need you to run an errand for me. And he has to drop something off to Dr. Manhattan's first wife, Janie?
Yeah.
Yeah, Janie. Because we all know how well she's doing after. And this is, of course, after they've broken up. So as Moloch's walking out, he actually starts crying, and he's like, "Thank you, God, thank you." Like
it makes me so sad because he's so grateful for this.
He is.
I'm giving him a second chance, and Adrian's just being a dick and using him. And
yeah, and if you weren't aware, it cuts back to Adrian sitting in his office, brings up a sheet of the stuff that he's been going over, and he says, "Let's make this one really hard to find." So he's been putting in these mistakes. So there is no real reason for Moloch to be there. No, other than, well...
It's some kind of ploy.
It's just to make Moloch think he's doing something.
Yeah, and to keep him there.
And of course, if you know... Well, if you've read Watchmen, and I recommend you do that,
of course.
you know what's going to happen to Moloch. So he goes over to Janie's house, and she looks awful.
Yep.
Just awful.
Haggard shit.
Haggard shit. And turns out the package he was delivering was, well, they look like cigarettes.
But they're not actually.
But they're not actually cigarettes.
Fancy herb. Healthy cigarettes.
Yeah. She calls it Coke. Sure you don't want a Coke?
No, she's offering him a drink. That's what I thought.
Are you sure? Okay, that's what it was. Almost thought for a second, like, I had to reread that because the first time I'm like, is there cocaine in these cigarettes? Is that what she's talking about? Like, you want some cocaine?
She goes over what they are, kind of.
And it all sounds like bullshit.
Yeah, she's saying after I broke up with Dr. Manhattan, I started feeling bad and I started smoking a lot, but then Adrian came to me and gave me these ones, which are making me feel better, making me healthy.
And they don't do as bad as tobacco and all that kind of stuff. So she's getting lied to. Bad.
God bless Adrian.
God bless Adrian.